All right, good evening, everybody. Today is March 3rd, 2022, and we're here tonight with Chris Hauser, and we're going to be going over Q&A with his processes. You guys, just to make sure, we're getting our email system worked out, so if you want to get email notifications of this call, go to youhavetheright.com and join our mailing list, if you would. And that way you'll get email notifications of this call and other updates. So if you have a question, you can hit *6 on your phone. So, Chris, do you have any lectures or lessons or anything that you want us to know about tonight?
Well, we were talking earlier that we're working. Don't really have. Well, I'll start by saying we're working on.
You're breaking up, sir.
The details of the brokerage. Dang, man. Here we go again.
I'm here.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I have to get in the right spot again.
Yeah.
That's the way it is up in the sticks here. We're working on the details with the brokerage and also the contract. There's a couple contracts that I've been working on with that, and we're trying to get all these details worked out. I was on a Zoom conference with a bunch of folks there Monday, and one of the ladies that she had a realtor that she was working with in Colorado that had was willing to accept a 1099-A for a $5 million ranch. She sent the 1099-A in, and then along with that, she sent a conditional acceptance. So she got an email back rather quickly.
Oh.
What kind of shenanigans are you trying to pull here? We've sent your paperwork to the local police department to look into this. And
where was this? Where was it sent to?
It was sent to a real estate agent, Colorado.
Okay.
She's in. I don't know if it was Minnesota or Michigan, or might even been Oklahoma. I'm not quite sure where she's from. But that's not uncommon. There's been quite a few folks send a conditional acceptance to the dealership, and then right along with it, they're sending they send a 1099-A to the dealership, and they send a conditional acceptance with it. When you do that, folks, that's like giving a kid ice cream, and as soon as they go to take a bite out, you smack it out of their hand. You don't do that. You're not, when you give them the 1099-A, you're making them an offer, and you're waiting for them to respond or not. If they don't accept the 1099-A, then you'll send a conditional acceptance. And she blew it. She had these people, right there ready to do the realtor understood the procedure, how the lady explained it to the real estate agent. This is what you do, and these are the forms you fill out. This is how you do it. And the lady's like, yeah, we can do this. And then she sent a conditional acceptance with it, so she kind of blew it.
That would be kind of like a threat.
Yeah, it really would. And she realized her mistake. We talked about it a little bit, and she realized what she'd done was a mistake. And I said, hunt some other place. Don't go to Colorado. I said, find your ranch in Wyoming. She said, it's too cold. But this same lady, folks, has an oral surgeon, has already accepted a 1099-A for $66,000 for dental implants.
Wow.
This dental surgeon has accepted hers and sent the paperwork off. She's about to get a mouthful of $60,000 worth of teeth.
Golden teeth.
Yeah, she I said, make sure you get some big and sharp incisors so you can eat your good steak. And but see, she's already seeing how this works, and she just kind of jumped the gun there a little bit. Another person in the group has been talking with a real estate agent in Beverly Hills, a $3.5 million home. It's probably not a mansion at 3.5. It's probably just a nice house in Beverly Hills. And the real estate agent was having trouble trying to get their head wrapped around what it was this lady was wanting to do. She called the guy, the lady who was trying to buy the house, called the guy who was running the group and asked if he could explain it. He told me he spent almost 2.5 hours on the phone with this real estate agent in Beverly Hills, California, and they're doing it. I guess he was convincing enough and was thorough enough talking about it on the group. I mean, hours people are on the phone.
Wow.
Talking about stuff, kind of like me and you have, Tad.
Yeah.
And he gets it. He has a thorough understanding of what it is this thing does. So when he was talking to this real estate agent, they got her. They got this lady hooked in and ready to go. And so they're just working that out. And here's the thing. A lot of people I've noticed in the messages and emails, they say, the dealership, they want me to prove how much I have in the trust. And or the real estate agent, they want me to prove that I've got enough money in the trust to buy the house in question or the property in question. And you can't do that. The beneficiary can't go find out how much is in the trust. They're not privy to that. And these dealers and these real estate agents, they don't realize the significance of being the beneficiary. You can't find that, how much is in there. And so the people are questioning the beneficiary, questioning me, well, how are we supposed to convince these people to do the documents, to do the tax documents, and help us buy these homes if we can't even tell them how much is in it? And I understand why they're scared. This is something. How we, what? I don't want to go to prison. The same thing with the guy at the dealership that I went to, the Senate Chevrolet. I don't want to do that, man. I don't do no time in the feds. Here's the thing about this. If you're a trustee and you accept a 1099-A, say I'm selling Tad my house, and he's got a 1099-A. I can take that 1099-A and do all the paperwork. I can do the OIDs and everything like that the way you're supposed to. Send it in to the Treasury, at the 1111 Constitutional Avenue, where that's the IRS's address, and send it all there. And here's what's going to happen. There's one of three things going to happen. They're either going to process the paperwork and send the check out, or send it by electronic transfer of funds if you do the 1199-A. Or if there's something wrong with it, they're going to contact you and say, look, we were looking at this 1096, and you've done something wrong on it. This is what we suggest that you do. We can send this back to you and you can fix it, or you can give us your permission. We'll make this slight adjustment and process the paperwork. That's the second thing they may do. The third thing is they're going to send you a notice in the mail, and they're going to say, this is a frivolous filing. Do not do this again. And if you do it again, they may send you another notice that says, this is a frivolous filing. We've told you not to do this. And so now we're going to give you a civil penalty of $5,000 for frivolous filing. They're not going to, you file this paperwork if the trustees are shaky about whether or not to file it. If they file this stuff, worst case scenario is the IRS is going to send them a letter saying this is a frivolous filing, don't do it again. A lot of y'all are familiar with the frivolous filing letter. Some of y'all have taken photographs of yours and sent them to me. So I know you're getting the frivolous filing notifications from the IRS. And the 3 that I've read so far, none of them say there's a civil penalty for this. And see, that's the first really negative thing that's going to happen to you. If they hit you with the frivolous filing, they're going to warn you first. And then they're going to fine you civil penalties second. They may fine you civil penalties third, and fourth, they may now we're going to take you into the federal courts, and you're going to do some time in Club Fed. But the first time you do this, if it's a frivolous filing, they're going to warn you. So there's not a lot to be fearful of during this process. When I beat them in tax court, I was already looking at 2 civil penalties for frivolous filing. Okay? I did not go to prison for filing frivolous filings, for filing these lien securities. I did not go to prison for that. If that would have been the case, I would have been in federal prison. And that's where you could actually put people's mind at ease. Say, look, worst case scenario, you're going to get a letter from the IRS says, this is a frivolous filing, please don't do it again. And they're going to say, please. I think they do in the letters that I recall. They actually say, please don't do this again. They're going to warn you first. Okay, we understand that you're not a licensed tax attorney or a licensed tax preparer. So we're not going to hold this over you. We're going to tell you right now, don't do this again. And then you'll know. That's where this is at for those of you. And a lot of the things that's happening right now is a lot of the people that are filing these things now, they're not going to the dealerships. They're not going to the mortgage people, or they're not going to the real estate agents. They're going to Mr. For Sale guy, for sale by owner guy. And they're doing these deals with the sellers. They're doing this deal. You know, my granddad's got a 2-year-old Ford truck, and he really can't afford the payments. And he said he'd be willing to sell it to me for so he could pay it off. And that's how they're doing these now. That's what how these are going through now. So if you had a close relative that you wanted to buy a house from, or you knew someone that was willing to do this process, worst case scenario is it's not going to work, and they're going to tell the for sale by owner guy, hey, don't do this again. You need to know that this is frivolous filing. Not doing this process is nothing to be afraid of, because they're a step on the wrist organization now. Maybe back in the 50s, if you'd have tried something like that, when the IRS had a real bad name. Not that they don't have a bad name now, but they were really bad to throw people in prison. Oh, you owe $10,000, you're going to prison. They don't do that anymore. They're friendlier IRS. They're supposed to be anyway. But it's nothing to be afraid of, and that's probably the biggest thing that's gone down this week is people are starting to buy these things. And And I'm also talking to a lot of folks about the contracts to the Treasury. I've talked to quite a few people that have the $100 million bonds, and they're all wanting to know how to do these contracts and the steps of the contracts, and when you're doing the conditional acceptance and you're doing the bonds and you're turning them over to the Treasury, the way that we're doing this here, there's no way that you can be charged with filing liens or financing statements, because we're not using the UCC. We're also not using the tax documents like that I show you in the videos, like we did in 2015 and 16. We're not using the tax documents. We're telling the United States Treasury, the Secretary, hey, Janet Yellen, here's this bond for $100 million. We're going to give you our power of attorney to do whatever you have to do to make this, take this monetized bond and prepare it for election. If she wants to do the 1099As and OIDs and all the other stuff that we did, go right ahead. You want to do the UCC ones? Go right ahead. But it'll be her that's doing it. That's the best way to approach this. Another question that I've dealt with a little bit this week is the claim of lien. The claim of lien, they ask whether we're doing the claim of lien now, we're not doing it through the UCC1, so they're not being notified. They may not be notified at all. The Treasury may send the claim of liens to the IRS, and the IRS may collect it straight out of their trust, and they don't even know that the IRS has collected this money. They may not even be notified that they've collected the money. So a lot of people are asking, well, how can we notify the people that we're doing these claim of liens against if we're not using the UCC? And here's what I suggest. Take the claim of lien that you create and notarize it and get the wet signature on it, and then that's the one you're going to put with the attachment or the assignment document or the contract to the Treasury. But before you do that, make copies of it. And then send it certified mail to the people that you created the notice of claim of lien. If there's a judge and you want him to know that you just jumped off in his pocket deep, take a copy of the claim of lien and send it to him certified mail. That way, if he tries to drag you in there, you can go, hey, I got this green card right here. You're signed for it. I see you got my notice. You've been noticed that you owe me $6 million. How you going to act, Judge Guy? Because that's a lot of it. You mess with me, and you've caused me all this stress, and you've taken stuff from me when you had no lawful right to do so. You put me in jail. You stripped me naked. You had some big burly dude feel me all up and everything while I'm butt naked, squat down and cough. You put me through all of this. Now I'm putting you through something. Hey, did your wife sign? I noticed that your wife, you could send it to their house. Send the copy of the notice of claim of lien to the judge's house. His wife is probably going to sign for it. And when she realizes that her husband just got hit for $6 million, she's going to be a little pissed off because she knows that right around the corner her credit cards aren't going to work. That's how I would suggest, if you want the people that you're creating the claims of liens against to know that you've done it, send it to them certified mail. So, and they would. That's how I would do it. I would go ahead and take the time to make copies and go ahead and spend the extra about $6 or $7, just for the satisfaction of seeing that green card come back. Well, I know you know now, don't you?
Right.
You know, especially if you're looking at going back in front of the same tribunal, if it's a judge type situation or type situation, send him a conditional acceptance, a copy of it, and then do the claims of lien and send him a claim of lien. Yeah, you just been noticed. That way they can't say when you roll off in that courtroom, I'm here to make a special appearance. Oh, heck, yeah, by the way, I noticed that you've got my conditional acceptance, and I noticed that you got the notice of claim of lien. Hey, guy in the black robe, how do you intend to pay? And you're putting them on the spot right away. You bias them immediately. How do you intend to pay me? If they don't get up and run out, and they try to proceed with whatever it is that they're doing, you can go, no, wait a minute. We need to settle this matter before you move any further. When are you going to pay me, buddy? I tell you what, throw your keys to your BMW down here, Timmy, or your Mercedes, because I need to hold those. You've been liened, and according to the Supreme Court, that says you can put a lien on a man depriving him of beneficial use of his property without any judicial determination or probable cause. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hinder you from using your own property. You ready to pay me? I'm telling you, you're going to have them so wrapped up in that claim of lien that they are not going to mess with you. They're going to try some stuff like, oh, I better put this off. Yeah, you're damn right you better put it off. Because you know right now that you can't move. You can't move. You're biased. So those were the issues that I dealt with a lot of this week.
Okay. Are you ready for questions?
Yeah, sure.
All right. We're going to go to Maryland, 978 area code. When your phone unmutes, it's your turn.
Hi, Chris, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, pretty good.
Hi, Chris. My name is John Meneghini. I'm from Massachusetts, and I really appreciate all that you're doing. I've listened to all of your YouTube videos and your WebEx call and all of your recorded Q&As, and I understand most of what you've said, but I have my particular problem is really having to do with something you have not talked a lot about, and that's divorce. To skip all the gory details, the long and the short of it is, after 38 years of being married to my wife and raising a wonderful family of 5 children, she's decided she doesn't want to be married anymore. I've asked her to, work out an agreement with me privately, but she doesn't want to do that. She's decided she wants to go to the court. So she's hired an attorney from a litigation firm here in Massachusetts, and she's bound and determined to submit to the authority of the court, and she's determined to see that I do the same. So I'm now being addressed by her attorney as, uppercase John Meneghini pro se, because I refuse to hire an attorney. So I really, my questions are, what do I do? I'm very concerned. Do I file, as you've taught all of us, do I, file a CA against the Middlesex County Probate Court, all of the judges, the clerk, and the attorney? Do I talk to my wife's attorney and try to negotiate some type of a settlement? Should I wait until the court? My pretrial hearing is in May, right? And so should I file an affidavit of status, declare my status, and declare myself to be the beneficiary and sue jurists and challenge the jurisdiction of the court, before the pretrial hearing? What's your advice?
Okay, yeah, I got you. Personally, I don't file anything because if you file anything into the case, you're agreeing that to the jurisdiction. Always everything straight the first day. Okay, I'm coming in here. The only reason I'm coming in here is because if I don't, you'll arrest me. So I'm here under duress, and I'm here to challenge the jurisdiction. I'm sure you're aware that divorcing you.
Aware of that?
They can't divorce you. The scripture says that you have to divorce her. And the Messiah said you only do it for marital unfaithfulness. And to divorce her, you have to give her a piece of paper saying, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. So it's the trust that's being divorced. And if you grant them any kind of jurisdiction, you're going to give them the right to do that. You asked them and you gave them the right when you got married, when you went down and got the marriage license.
Right.
Yeah, you
were right, but that was all a fraud because I didn't understand what I was doing.
Yeah, there wasn't full disclosure. It's a contract without full disclosure. So actually it's void anyway. So what you're dealing with, if I was to, apparently your wife doesn't want to settle this in a private matter. She probably thinks she's entitled to more.
That's what I've asked her to do. But, yeah, like I said, I don't want to take up a lot of time in this call. I've sent you 2 pieces of email. I understand that you're very busy. But if you could just look at my email where I describe some of the details and call me, I'd appreciate it.
This is your chance to talk to him right now.
Okay. What's the name again so I can recall it when I go on your name? Here's the thing. This is what I would do. My wife's already told me. I guess you won't ever divorce me. No, I won't. You're not ever going to get a divorce from me. For one, I will not grant any court any jurisdiction to determine that. I won't do it. She knows I won't. We may not live in the same house, and we might not live together, in matrimony. But I'm never going to divorce you. I'm not going to do that.
I've been through all that with her. I've told her that. I've said, look, it's like we don't have to get a divorce because all they're going to do is just railroad both of us, right?
Yeah.
I said, I'm perfectly willing to make an arrangement with you. We can separate. There's no reason for us to actually get divorced unless either one of us decides we want to get married to somebody else, right? I mean, and when that happens, I agree with you. If that day comes, I'll say, okay, I'll write you your bill of divorce according to the scripture, and you're free.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If you guys could sit down together and compromise, and you don't even $120-some or $170 filing fee. You could come together and create your own divorce decree and no contest and irreconcilable differences or whatever your state allows and come together and do this. If she's not willing to do that, then she's going to hire the attorney. The
problem is this. I've said that to her repeatedly. I've explained all this to her, and multiple times we've come to an agreement. We've come to an agreement, and then she goes and talks to her attorney, and her attorney talks her out of it.
Well, that's their job. Their job is to make money off of her. That attorney's going to make money off of the settlement that she's going to get from you. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get screwed. When I was in Nashville in jail, I was in Nashville in jail with a guy who refused to go into the court in a divorce issue, in a divorce matter. He stood his ground, and when I was there, he had already had 2 years in county jail, and I was there 15 months. And he was still there. And he was fighting this jurisdictional thing. And we're just going to keep you in jail until you come in here. That's what they like to do. they don't have jurisdiction over you. They do not have jurisdiction over you. If
right.
you stick with your gun,
yeah, but I'm going to
gonna
end up in jail.
If you don't go in there, what's going to happen? If you go in there and you say, I'm not going to, I'm here to challenge jurisdiction, blah, 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 get out of my courtroom. And what they're going to do is they're going to grant her a divorce anyway. And they're going to grant...
Right. Well, not only are they going to grant her a divorce, but not only will they grant her a divorce, but they'll probably completely dictate all the terms of divorce, garden my paycheck, lien my house, right, and notify my employer.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hate to say this, partner, but it's not your house. It's your house.
I understand that part,
it belongs to both of you.
Yeah,
and no matter what the deal is, as far as the state is concerned, actually a third of it is theirs. A third of your house belongs to them. That's the agreement that you went in. And you can go in there and you can argue all this stuff. You sure can. And have fun doing it. If you're going to do this, have fun doing it. Because it could be costly in the long run. But, look, man, there is nothing she can take from you that you can't get back.
There's nothing she can do to me that is not going to blow back and hurt her herself. She is still completely dependent upon me. Right?
That's
and
what I would say.
If I stand up and fight against this thing and they throw me into jail, it's like, guess whose income is going to disappear instantly? Hers.
Yeah. Here's what you may do. This is hey, you came into this world naked. You can leave it naked. You can tell her, say, look, I don't even want to fight with you. Here it is. Everything is yours. I'm going to pack my clothes and my personal items in my freaking car, and I'm going to go down there to divorce apartment complex, divorce apartment complex. I'm going to go down there. You got it all. You want to fight over this shit? I'm not even going to give you the chance to do that. I'm going to give it all to you right now. Here it is. Here it is. Everything. Because I'm telling you, bro, I've been in the situation that you're in right now more than once. And I've packed my car with stuff that I had from when I was a kid. Pack my car, say, okay, it's yours. Every bit of it. I'm not going to fight you for something that could all burn down tonight. If you don't want to go and go in there and play their game, I would suggest give it all to her. Because, like you said,
I can do that, but
in the end, it's going to bite her in the ass.
Yeah, I can do that, but the issue is going to be that she has no income. She's completely dependent upon me, right? And so what she really wants and what she needs is she needs an alimony. She needs me to keep my job, right? And which is a substantial income, right? And so that's really what this is all about, right?
Yeah.
And
so she always been a housewife?
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, she raised. So Chris, I love this woman. Okay, she homeschooled all five. I like to say we homeschooled our children. My wife homeschooled our children. We're both Christians. We have a Christian family, right? But all of the shit that's gone down in this country, all this COVID, just everything, just the total mind control that's happened in this whole country, she's just completely just lost her mind or something. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, you're going through some seriously hard, troubled times. I know. I've been there twice. I've lost everything in marriage twice. I've lost everything once to fire. I mean, lost everything. And the last time I lost everything, I went to prison for 3 years. I lost everything but the glasses on my nose. And I'm telling you right now, you can bounce back from any hardship that ever comes in your way. And for your peace of mind, if I were in your shoes, I would give her everything. Here you go, honey. I love you. You have everything. And give her the house. If she doesn't have money, tell her to sell it. And tell her you can help her move down into Divorce A apartment complex. Let her live off that money. And tell her, hey, it might be a good time for you to go get some education. If you go in there and you challenge the jurisdiction, they can order whatever they want. They'll order whatever they want. They'll give her whatever they want, and or give her the house and give her some alimony, and you can fight these guys. You really can. You can play their game.
Well,
go
I
get
can,
an attorney,
but I'm not. I understand what the risks are. You said don't. You just said don't do this if you're timid, right? And I understand. So I'm trying to decide. Okay, do I really want to take the nuclear option or not? Yeah. And you're right. It's a very personal decision. Nobody can stand for me. There's nobody in this universe who can do this other than me.
Yeah.
And I get all that, but I guess what I'm really asking you for is just a little bit of more wisdom and knowledge and understanding, and maybe just a little bit of advice. Like I said, I'm going to stop now because there's lots of other people that want to talk. If you happen to see my email,
you got a hard road to hoe. You really do. I'm telling you right now.
Well, I haven't even told you the second half of it, Chris. Okay, go read the second half of my email. You'll find out about all the shit that's going on with the COVID. I'm already basically filing a CA against the company I work for, right? I mean, this whole thing is going to blow up in May, right? And as like you said, I'm just trying to pray and ask God. I knew nothing about this 6 months ago, and I just said, well, God, I've done everything I can all my life to be a Christian, to obey all of God's laws and obey all of man's laws. I guess that doesn't matter because they're coming after me no matter what. So I'm going to have to go in. I'm going to have to go after this friggin', monster, this giant who's slaying not only me, but every other free, loving person in this world. I'm just going to have to go up against the giant.
Yeah, go get him, David.
That's what we all have to do in the end.
Go get him, David. Take your handful of stones.
All right. Well, God bless you.
If you're going to fight these people, fight them. If you're going to fight them, fight them.
I get that. I agree.
And I wish you well. I will get your emails pretty soon. I'll get to them pretty soon. I don't know now your situation. I've talked to you firsthand. I do this from time to time. I get a hold of people and they want me to see it quick. There's no doubt in my mind.
I'm not asking you to solve my problem. But I would like a little bit of your wisdom and advice, right? I think I understand what the steps are to do. Yeah. I just need to decide if this is really what I want to do.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to go the route of the conditional acceptance, it'll stop them. They won't be able to. They won't be able to move. The court won't be able to move once you do this. They may try, but it won't be legitimate. But I'll read your emails and I'll get with you, man.
All right.
All right.
God bless.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck, David. Go get that giant.
I'd like to give a little bit of advice.
Yeah, go right ahead.
If you think that you're going to be heading into a divorce, you need to protect your assets. And we have some state-of-the-art asset protection at the website. So if you guys want to protect your assets, contact me at youhavetheright.com. And get ready now, because when it's filed, it's too late.
Yeah.
Because you're in this situation, like you said, well, here you go, here, take it all. Whereas if you have the right asset protection, well, I gave it away already. I don't have anything.
On me. That's always bitter. Divorce is, especially when you're with somebody like that. My parents were together 33 years. They were both in the mental health field. My dad had a Christian counseling center. My mom even worked there from time to time. And they separated after 33 years.
Ouch.
And so I knew that this was possible. People that I only seen them argue one time, raise their voices and argue one time. In the 16, 17 years I lived with these people, they would never raise their voice. They never went to bed angry. And all it took was, the right circumstance to go down. And next thing you know, they're getting divorced. It's a nasty thing to go through. It really is. It hurts a lot of people. It hurts the children. It hurts each one of the married couple, it hurts them too, man. It's not good. I've been through a couple divorces, and it's not good. I'm telling you, it is a bad thing to have to go through. But you know, it's not always your the option that you want to take. When you got a spouse that wants a divorce, it's going to happen, no matter whether you want it or not. And then you got these shyster freaking lawyers out here. You know, they don't care if they wreck a family.
Yeah.
You know, the first thing I would suggest if I was a divorce attorney is, have you tried counseling? Have you tried some marriage counseling? I would be more interested in trying to keep a marriage together than to get a bunch of money off off of some poor old gal that had never worked a day, worked a public job in her life, stay at home, take care of everything. That's rough. It really is. It's hard for anybody that has to go through. It really is.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is.
Counting my blessings. All right,
Yeah.
so we're going to go to 337 area code wireless caller. You're next.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
What's up, Michelle Elizabeth? I'm doing good. Say, I got a couple of questions on a couple of things I'm working on. I'm working on a conditional acceptance for an employer who was stealing my wages and was changing my pay, and he fired me while I was off work. Now, my first question is, I don't really have an address. I have a P.O. box. Can I use a P.O. box address for drafting up my conditional acceptance?
Yeah, you can, the conditional acceptance. Actually, you can use them you can use a P.O. box for everything as far as the address goes. The one thing that you can't use it for is the return check from the Treasury in the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have a physical address for them to send it to, then you need to put one on there, mother's or a father's or somebody you trust, because it could be a rather large check coming from the Treasury. So in a situation like that, I would suggest doing the 1199A. When you do the contract with the Treasury, go ahead and do the 1199A and send it with it. Here you go. According to the contract, you owe me X amount of dollars, and you have 45 days to pay. Let me help you make this a little quicker so you don't have to cut a check. Just go ahead and transfer the money to this bank account.
Oh, okay.
Then
and
the
just
money would
open
be
an
going
account
to-
with the beneficiary?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Banks don't, trust me, folks, banks do not like to give you a beneficiary account. But once they've opened it and done the transactions with it, they can't close it.
By the way,
they may threaten to.
That 1199A form, it has to be sent, I think, by the bank. The bank has to approve it as well if you read the form.
Do they?
Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet. I did find it because I was looking for banks that I could open an account with, and I was asking questions about, putting all that money in there, and because I remember Chris stating that if you didn't have a beneficiary account, that the Treasury will take the money, and I don't want that to happen. And the other questions that I had was in my conditional acceptance. What if you can't find some of the accusers? Like if you don't have a full name or an address, does it matter, or will it still link them up to the company that they were working for? Like I have an accuser here that I don't know what her location is, but I know her name.
Okay, if you know her name,
the accused,
yeah, if you know the accused name and you know that they work for the corporation, send it to the corporation.
So I don't need to send her one.
Pardon me?
I don't need to send her a copy of the conditional acceptance, only to the company?
You have to send it to the corporation.
Okay.
She's an agent. If you send it to an agent, to notice the agent is to notice the principal.
Right,
To
even if she's not working there
the
anymore?
Even if she's not working there.
But she would get a separate certified mail number as well, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're gonna send these packets out separately. Each one's gonna have its own contract number. That's the certified mail number. If you don't know, if you're doing a circuit court and you're doing the circuit court judge or a couple judges and you're doing the clerk, you don't have to send. You can send them all to the clerk, the circuit court's address. That's how I did it.
Oh, okay.
I got 4 circuit court clerks, the circuit court circuit court clerk, and 4 judges, and the court itself, the principal itself, and all 5 of those conditional acceptances went to the courthouse address.
Okay. I got 2 more questions.
Okay.
I think my phone is hacked. I've noticed that since I've been studying your stuff that I've been having a little problem with my phone, and my computer's dying on me, and I've been needing to go to try to get me a new phone, and I went to AT&T and try to haggle with them on getting a new phone and maybe a tablet or something so I can finish up some of my work, because these things puking out on me is slowing me down a lot. And I've only been to AT&T once. I only went to one, and I asked the lady after I talked with her about, purchases and asking them about contracts and blah, 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 and then I sprang the 1099 on there. I go in there all cheerful and business-like, and try to have a good time with these folks. And they told me that they wouldn't accept it, so I wanted to speak with the manager. And I got his business card, and he told me that they would not accept the 1099-A for payment. Now, I didn't do any contract. I didn't have them run my number, my Social Security number, or anything like that. Yeah. And I just left it at that, and I left out. I said, okay, I might be back. And I haven't been back since. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well,
I need to get me a new phone.
Yeah, I get it. Here's what I think about that. If you don't give them the Social Security number, then you can't conditionally accept. It's the turning over of that number that makes them trustees.
Sure.
So you can't conditionally accept them. There's been a lot of people say, I went to the dealership and I told them about the 1099A and they wouldn't accept it. Can I do it conditionally? No, you can't, because you didn't. That's why I tell folks to do the application, even though you're not going to finance it. What that does is that puts them in a trusteeship. And,
sure.
And it's not about them having the right to decide whether or not they want to accept it. They already have. When they take that and then they go run your number, come back and tell you that your credit sucks or it's really good and we can finance your car, that's when you drop it on them. The thing with the phone, you would probably be better off to go get the phone and get the tablet and go sign a contract for 2 years or whatever, and then send them a 1099-A.
Okay, I have crappy credit, so they're probably going to deny me. So at that point, would I just offer the 1099-A for payment in full for everything?
Well, they're going to, when you go in there to sign a contract, they're going to, we got you this phone right here, and, it's an $800 phone, and they're going to set you up on payments. Right? They're going to set you up on payments.
They're going to what? Oh, yeah.
Set you up on payments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go and get an iPhone 13. It's a $900 phone. You're going to make payments on it. That's how they're going to want you to do it anyway.
Right.
As far as your credit being bad, would they reject you for the service? They may, I don't know. I've never got a phone with bad credit.
Well, I'm going to try it and see what happens because I'm unemployed right now. I've been looking for work since October. And I'm going to finish up with my last questions here, and this is a really shitty part of the whole thing. I'm in a caregiver situation here where I'm in an agreement with a gentleman where I'm providing health care services in exchange for a room because I was caught up with the evictions and the 2020 COVID stuff, and I went back to Louisiana. I got caught up in the hurricanes, and I came back to Texas, and I've been pretty much homeless ever since, and I've been working and saving my money, and I was living in the forest in a tent and living in my truck. But a coworker introduced me to this guy and told me at the time that she wanted to move into an apartment with her boyfriend. Well, I moved into the place and started giving care. I am a certified medical assistant. And not long after I'd been living there, probably about a month or so, he starts in with his sexual antics. Sexual harassment and making suggestions, and I've been putting up with it, and we've had arguments, and I've asked him to please stop doing this stuff. I'm not going to submit to any of anything that you want me to do, and he's threatened me twice now, and just not too long ago he threatened me, probably about 3 days ago, again to throw me out, and normally I would just left if I was still working, and I'd be happy to go back to the forest where I was. But I'm in a real situation here, and can I do a conditional acceptance now? The nurses that come out there, I've talked with them. They've all experienced the same thing. Nobody wants to go out there, and I went back to the woman that introduced me there, and I asked her about this guy, and then she tells me, yeah, that's why I left. So I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me from the beginning? Because I would have never went out there if he was like that.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, and she was like, well, it was better than being in the woods. And I'm like, fuck you, I'd rather be in the fucking woods than deal with this piece of shit right here. Because he's a freaking creep, man. He really is. He's disgusting. And some of the things that he's done is he's an old guy. He's crippled. Yeah, he's crippled, and he's just really gross. Yeah. He stinks, and he doesn't take care of himself, and nobody wants to be there. Even the nurses are going to stop their services, so I don't know what he's going to do. And he's known to be this way within the community. His children go out there or nothing like that. And so if I was working, I'd just leave. But I'm not in that situation, and I don't have any money. I've spent up the money that I had to live on since October. So I'm in a real bind.
He could be dangerous. He could be dangerous.
What do you mean?
People like that could be dangerous.
Well, I noticed that.
Dangerous living there. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So it could be dangerous living there. Well, it could be dangerous living in the woods, too. As far as writing a conditional acceptance, you can. What's the offer that's being made? What's the offer?
What's that? Well,
he's
offered sexual favors. He wanted me to go on trips with him, things that he's not going to ever do. And he wanted me to be in a relationship with him. He's always making comments about how good-looking my legs are, wanting me to flash him my boobs, and wanting me to give him a bath. And, I mean, he wants to shave my legs. I mean, it's just disgusting shit like that. One day I was coming into work. I was coming in from work, and one night, because I was working nights, and I would tend to him when I get off work, and he pulls back at his blanket and exposes himself. And I was like, what are you doing? While I was pouring him some water and some milk. And I said, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, I got to pee, and he covers his shit back up. And then one day he wanted me to sit and talk with him, and he always likes you to sit in front of him. So when I was sitting there talking with him, I noticed his blankets going up and down, and I get up and I left, and I said, you're fucking sick, man. And I freaking left out the house, and I left. sir?
If you're going to do anything about this guy, you're going to have to get some evidence. You have to get some evidence on this guy if you're going to do anything about it. You got to get him, record him doing some of that stuff, and if he's exposed himself to you intentionally, that's sexual assault.
Yeah, I think God.
And while he's going into jail, you can now not worry about it.
Well,
yeah,
all right.
I don't know if all that's going to happen because I really don't have evidence other than just what I've documented. I don't what I've written down. I don't have actual proof or audio or nothing like that.
Yeah, well, you can get some of that. If he's a pervert yesterday, he's going to be a pervert tomorrow.
All right.
Well, we've had quite a few arguments, and I've shamed him quite a bit. So
we have some other folks that are waiting. We kind of have to move on.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Right. You've helped out a lot. I appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you.
Situation.
Okay. New York, 929 area code. Go ahead.
Hi, Chris. This is Robert here.
Hey.
My question is about treasury contract. They're not so visible on YouTube when you have to take the screenshots. So we can. I'm interested in the footnotes. I did send you an email, so I'm more about that. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Have you sent me an email yet?
Yeah, I did. It has attachment to so you can see what's there.
Okay. What's the name?
It's robbieculture@gmail.com.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I'm trying to get them worked out. I had a bunch of them gone, and because of my phone getting hacked, and and then after I got them back up, a lot of people resent, and I'm trying to get through all these.
Do you have a scanner?
I normally go through the ones with attachments first.
Right.
That's what I'm working through. And there's a lot of attachments, a lot of email attachments. So as soon as I get you one, I will send you a copy of the conditional acceptance. I'll send you the Ron Lyons one. It's traffic. It's got all the footnotes in it and everything.
Yeah, the footnotes.
Right.
I'm really interested in the footnotes just to make sure. I want to have a read as well.
Yeah.
So the document.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, brother.
You guys, I want to keep this to if you actually have a question, not, hey, check my email. That's not the purpose of this call. If you have a question, especially that other people are going through, you're going to be answering it for them as well. You're going to be asking it for them as well. So we're going to go to 917 area code. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Chris. My name is Mark. I have a question. I am a business person. I have a couple of businesses, real estate, mortgage company, and a car dealership. I also have a consulting business. Yes, I know we all sent you emails. We're just waiting for the response. The question is that we've done quite a few of the 1099s, and as you know, the 1099 is just the front of the process, but the rest of the process is behind the document that we as a business, as you say, the trustee has to fill out. One of the questions I have with the IOD, which I was talking to a gentleman earlier, in box 1 of the form, we normally put the acquisition amount in it, the abandoned property amount, the value. But someone was telling us, which we get paid for it. So I'm not sure if it's a mistake. It was happened, and that they overlooked it. But someone was telling me that box should be 0 if we never receive any funds within the year 2021 before. And if we do receive, then the amount should be in that for the funds that we do receive for that year. I just want to clarify with that because we don't want to continue doing it as we were doing, and they caught up with us and return our document, or as you said, give us a notice for incorrect filing. The other one is that. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, buddy. The other part of the question.
Yeah, the other part of the question is the mortgage side, which basically we did the same process for the auto dealer, and we did the same thing as for the 1099. For the mortgage process, what we do is we add a 35% commission for ourselves on the cost of the acquisition. We really did not have a problem getting paid. I just got paid, $900,000 for a property for a lady in California. They approved it. We got the check. We didn't have a problem with that. But I just wanted to make sure that filling out these forms is the correct way of filling these forms out. And the 1099 IOD is that biggest question we have.
Yeah, the box 1 and the IOD.
Yes.
Yeah, that's original issue discount for the year. It's the same year as the document itself. All right. If it's 2021, you'll put it in there. You also put the same amount in box 4 when you're doing the IODs.
Right. So the box 4 is normally be 0.
Pardon me?
The box 4 would normally be 0, and the box 8 would be the acquisition amount.
The original. You're in the IODs?
Yes.
OIDs, you mean?
Yeah, the OID.
The OID, sorry. The OID.
Yeah. You're talking about in box 8?
Right, that is the abandoned property amount that's
the Treasury,
on the
Treasury's that's the Treasury's obligation. That's what the Treasury is supposed to pay. You.
Correct.
Yeah. And you're talking about it being in box 8 and box 1.
So we normally put the same amount in box 8 as we put in box 1. So, but someone was telling us that it's not correct.
Who's telling you it's not? Is it someone from the IRS telling you it's not correct?
No, someone from the group. So I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, someone from the Telegram group, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you're gonna leave box 1 empty, you're just gonna put it in box 8. You're going to want to put a 0 in there with a line through it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You don't leave it blank. Put a 0. All those other ones that are open for amounts to be put in, all the other boxes, you want to put a 0 with a line through it.
Okay. Well, we never been putting the line through it, but
when we did the lien securities and we did the OIDs, what we did with those is we put the same amount in box 1 and 8, or box 1 and box 4.
Okay.
We didn't put anything in box 8. So when you see the videos that I'm doing, it's different because they're lien securities.
Right.
So you just do box. Yeah, go ahead.
The other question I want to ask is that we do liens for our clients, and we get the companies in a large lien on for each one of the clients. So far, we haven't enforced the lien. We get them in a 10-day notice. We get both 10 days and 7-day notice on the liens. with the certified mail return, but we haven't enforcing the liens because one, we do not know how to, charge ourselves that 35% to ourselves, and the rest goes to the client. So that's one of the questions I would like to ask you: how we go about collecting that our commission from those liens that we get. We get these company into contract for our clients.
Yeah, okay. In your situation there, what you're doing is the liens that you're creating, you're not turning them over to the Treasury. And so what's happening is those liens that you put on them, that just means that there's a debt that's owed. That's all that lien means, is there's a debt that's owed. Until you monetize it and send it to the Treasury, that's all it is. It's a notice that they owe you the money. You can take liens out. I worked for a guy doing cleanup in the hurricane storms, and he ended up owing me $28,000 for 45 days worth of work because that was the deal we made. And I got the judgment, and I put some liens on his equipment, but that doesn't. What you have is a lien security. You don't have a possessory lien. A possessory lien. Well, you may have it. I don't know the whole circumstances that you're talking about, but like a mechanic's lien. A mechanic's lien is a possessory lien. Or possessory security, but if you just put a lien on someone, all you're doing is the only thing you can do is keep them, restrict them from using their own property until they pay you. I don't know if by what you're explaining, I don't know if there is any way to collect. You just put the liens on them so they can't sell it until you're paid. Like with the houses, I tell people in the foreclosure, I advise, or however the case may be, if your house is about to be foreclosed, go and put a UCC1 lien, $1 million UCC1 lien on that home. And that's not going to keep them from kicking you out of the home, but what it will do is it'll keep them from selling it. If you owe $120,000 on the mortgage and you got $1 million lien on it, they can't sell that until they pay you. And so whatever you've got your lien on, they can still use, but they can't sell it until they pay you. Or if they sell it, they have to.
Let me explain what happened with the liens. We do a conditional acceptance, a 10-day conditional acceptance, and get them into the contract because they're unable to meet the demand of the contract. Now that's become, they owe us. So we never really filed the lien with the Treasury because we're not sure how to say, okay, 35% out of this lien belongs to us if the client ever collects it.
You'd have to help your client do the contract with the Treasury, and then the 65% they would get, you would get the 35 out of it.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Yes.
If you put a lien on someone, all you have is a lien. That's it. It's when you take it and for collection. I'm sure there's some way that you could actually probably, I think, take a lien and send it to a collection agency and say, hey, here's your job. You collect this and you get 25%. All they're going to do is call the person that you liened and try and get the money out of them. Try and get them to pay something so they can get something. That's
Okay.
kind of how that works, man. Unless you're ready to get your client to drop these documents in Janet Yellen's lap, and you can give up some of the value of it to get it collected. I don't see any other way of doing it, really.
We would send it in to her. We would normally do all the paperwork as for the client, send it in, and monetize it. But we just want to figure out how would we do it. And as you said, just make a contract with the client for our 35%. So whatever they collect, that 35%, or we put a lien on them for the 35%. And when they collect, they have to pay us to enforce it.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
If you got a contract with them to get 35% of their 65%, they
Yes.
would be paying you. Or you could get them when you do it. You could get them to give you the whole amount, have the Treasury send you the whole amount, and then you can give them 65%. You can give them their cut. All you have to do for that would be to get your client to give you the power of attorney to do this for them.
Okay.
Then you get the money.
All right.
Money
Yeah.
comes to you, and then you would be responsible for giving the 65% of the 65% that you would get for them. That's probably
Okay.
the best way to do it. Ensure that you're going to keep your money. You're going to get your money.
Okay.
All right. Does
All
that
right.
answer your question?
As I said, yes. As I said, we are multiple different businesses. We try to work with the people in the group by, giving them the opportunity to do the 1099. But we are facing great backlashes from people who do not understand the system, people who have very short attention span and decided to call you names and have attitude for no reason. So I decided we withdraw our our offer from helping people in the group. It's hard to do that, but when we not getting the cooperation from people, and people want to call you, robots and all those crap, liars and scammers and all those stuff, you just don't want to work with people because you're helping them as well as they're helping you. Because yes, we're getting 25% of it, but sometimes we have to weigh the balance and say, does it worth it?
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my other brother, Daryl.
Hello, Tad.
Hey, go ahead.
Okay, all right, here we go. Hello, Chris, how are you?
Well, I'm doing well. How about you?
Not too bad. Okay, so mine's an RS issue. I went to jail for 15 months, and after I got out, and I got an attorney because my sisters wouldn't help me anymore, but I've been down this road a long time. I got out. I did a process with Tad through one of his friends, and we've got a judgment from the tax court that said they had no jurisdiction over all the years that I was supposedly put in jail for. Okay? So they said they had no jurisdiction in 2018. What's your question, Chris?
No, I was messing with my phone there. I lost the screen.
Okay.
So anyway, so you went to tax court, and then they charged you, and you did 15 months in the Fed, and now they're saying you have no jurisdiction?
Well, no, I got all this information after I got out. I didn't owe the IRS anything to begin with, but I beat them a couple of times, so they wanted to body slam me. So I had already gone to court with them and duked it out with the judge, just as a federal judge, as question jurisdiction, this and that and the other, and had put some stuff into the Attorney General to prove up to translate the statutes to common law, and gave them 60 days to do that. And in the meantime, I didn't hear anything back from the Attorney General, and I told the judge I wouldn't be back unless we heard something from the Attorney General because he had no jurisdiction in the case, and he said, no, I do, and I'm ruling on it. I got jurisdiction. So all that's kind of preset, but they basically were going to do what they did. And then I had got an attorney, so the attorney took everything back out of the court that I'd put in. But anyway, so after I'd gotten out of prison, I did Carrie's process with Tad and got a judgment from the tax court that they had no jurisdiction from 99 to the year 2018, which was the time period that.
Let me kind of elaborate a little bit what it said. Okay.
Yeah.
What it said is the court does not have jurisdiction because the IRS did not issue notice of deficiency, notice of determination that would grant jurisdiction to the court. In other words, they never assessed a tax. They just started sending bills and collecting and threatening and sending to jail without ever legally assessing a tax. And that's what they admitted in the motion to dismiss. They admitted we did not assess a tax. Now, they didn't say it like that, but they said we did not issue a notice of deficiency, notice of determination, which is code for we're operating outside of the law. Okay, so they go to the tax court, and they say, hey, court, you have no jurisdiction. We didn't issue these notices. There's no tax here, is in between the lines what they're saying. They're saying there is no tax to collect here. Okay, and then the court says, well, if you didn't issue it, you're right. There is no tax to collect, and we can't hear it. And they go back to beating the guy up.
So anyway, so here we are there. So which is the best way to go about this? You go after the judge? You go after the prosecutor? What's the best way to go about this conditional acceptance?
If you go after one, you got to go after them all.
Okay.
Everybody's involved. If their name was on your document or they stood in there and they were part of that tribunal, you include them. I've even done bailiff.
They threw me out of this is another thing. When I was in there duking it out with the judge prior to the trial starting, and I told him I wasn't coming back if we hadn't heard from the Attorney General. But anyway, they basically grabbed me, hauled me out of the courtroom, hauled me downstairs, took me all the way off the property and threw me off the property and said, don't come back. I said, thanks, I won't be back. Then when I didn't show up, they issued a bench warrant, and then they picked me up later down the road, about a month later down the road, and threw me in jail and wouldn't let me out until I said uncle.
Yeah, this is one time we need, and this is why we need more ropes in this country.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. They admit they're wrong.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, they brought this attorney out of or this prosecutor out of Washington D.C. on me. So you know they had. Yeah. But I'm in here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So they had the judge and the system had to perform for them. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so where did the federal court get jurisdiction from if the IRS said they didn't have it?
They don't have it.
So the tax court was after the fact. He went to prison first, and all the whatever stuff that happened, and then he went to the tax court. I'm thinking go back to the federal court and reconsider upon newly discovered information or newly discovered evidence.
Yeah.
And then after that, do like an appeal.
Yeah. And then once you get a judgment, turn around and sue them for all your time they took from you.
So you're saying going back the conventional way, not conditional acceptance, or do conditional acceptance to get agreement of the parties and then move forward?
Yeah. Yeah, I would. It would, to me, it'd make more sense to get it back into their arena. As much as I don't like messing around with them, if they're admitting that they're wrong, then it would be. To me, it'd make more sense to go back and get that judgment, you know. And then if they don't give you what if they don't give you right rule, then hit them. then hit them with conditional accept, because they're totally in dishonor, and they're malfeasing office. They already are malfeasing in office, and there's no statute of limitation on fraud. So you can do this 20 years from now, or you can do it tomorrow. It doesn't matter. But if you would like to see how it plays out, and they don't like to come out of their pocket and pay you for their wrong. But when they finally admit that they are, then they do. They will pull that money out. They're going to make you an offer.
My biggest concern is dealing with the corruption again. They'll try to get away with it again. You're talking federal judges, and this one, the judge that might be on it, he may have retired. He was pretty close. So I will say that. What's that?
That might be the best time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of a sticky situation you got there.
Don't like that sound.
But you can always conditionally accept. You can do that whenever. I'll tell you this much: those federal judges, they don't like that. One of the guys his name was Brian Snow. He was one of the guys that was in our stuff there back before 2017, and his issues were over taxes. I think $150,000 in back taxes, and he did that. He did the conditional acceptance on 2 federal judges, 3 IRS workers, and when it came down to it, the Fed said, we want him. When they got all of us and we all went in front of the state, the Feds got him. And he didn't know enough. He was separated from us, and he didn't know enough about what it was that he did. So he took a plea. They had 2 federal prosecutors from Washington, D.C. come to Knoxville for his case. And there at the last minute, he got scared right before the trial. At the last minute, he got scared, and he took a plea deal, 30 months. He served 15, and he was let out. And he had to agree to pay the back taxes. So, yeah, and that was, they don't like that. They don't like their federal judges being messed with.
Yeah, so that might be very dangerous. All right.
Yeah, but, right.
That's what I would do. I'd take the traditional road and see what the outcome is. And if after admitting they were wrong, they choose to screw anyway, then what do you got to lose? Go ahead and slam them.
Right. And I've got some restitution I need to deal with. Because I agreed to it, because I knew that they were going to lock me up forever if I did. Can you do a 1099-C on that?
Under fraud, though.
What's that?
You agreed to that contract. You agreed to that contract under fraud.
Okay, right. So it should be voided.
There wasn't full disclosure. Doesn't sound to me like there's full disclosure.
Right. Yeah. So you can't do a 1099-C or something like that to get rid of it.
Well, the restitution?
Yeah. You blipped out, Chris. Say it again.
I said, yeah, you can do for the restitution. You can do the 1099-A.
1099-A?
There was a guy. Yeah, 1099-A. You can't do, and listen, folks, the beneficiary cannot do a 1099-C. You don't do them at all.
I got you.
With an A, and send it on down,
you send that
on
to
down
the
the rail. But the 1099-C you can't, because 1099-Cs are for financial institutions.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Okay?
So
you don't want to do those. You want to do the 1099A. There was a guy on the Zoom conference I was on there last Monday night who had used 1099A to pay off his tax debt, and they took it.
So right now I'm paying them $50 a month.
All right, so we got some other people that are waiting.
All right, man.
So,
okay,
good luck, bro.
Thank you.
Really?
Okay, 414 area code, dialing.
Hey, darling and darling Mary Angela. Foreclosure had an express trust. The judge ended up retiring after the foreclosure. Now, March 14th at the sheriff's sale, due to shitty contractors that worked on my house, had given them several instruments, and they declined from accepting them and never returned them to me. Your feedback on that scenario, thank you in advance.
Yeah.
Is that it? Any more questions?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you very much. Talk to you later.
Thanks for calling in.
Okay. 718 area code. You're next.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
I appreciate your time tonight. Just have two questions for you. I'm going to try to make it real short. My child is about to turn 18. I heard you prior to one of the calls talking in regards to going on to Social Security and having them, remove themselves as the custodian of me creating acquiring a Social Security card and have them do it to, take care of the trust. Can you elaborate more on that, or do you have anything that I can utilize so I can take them down there to do that?
Sure. First off,
you're breaking up, Chris. Start over.
Incredibly savvy. This kid is going to need to know some stuff. He's going to need to know how to respond, and he's going to need to know how to be firm. And because they are going to, you're sending it, when you do this with your 18-year-old, you're sending them into a den of thieves. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be cordial and inviting when you do this. They have to go in there as a belligerent claimant. When you go in there at 18, think about this, folks. If you have an 18-year-old and they've been putting $1 million in his trust or her trust since they were born, you're going to have $18 million in that trust. Or if it's 1.5, you're going to have $27 million in that trust. 26, 27. Probably a little less because the trust, they take money. If they go in there and they try this, what you got to understand is the parent signs the Social Security application, and they.
You're breaking up.
You're breaking up, Chris.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. Your parents, when they get your Social Security card, they sign for you. They're signing as if they are you. And because they're adults, they do this. They initiate the trust as a grantor or a settler. And they're acting as a fiduciary for the child that's the beneficiary. Now, when that child turns 18, the first time they use that number at 18, they've contractually accepted that. They're saying, I accept this trust that my parents created for me. So when you do this and you want to go in there and do the trust, you're going to have to know what you're talking about when you go in there, because they're going to be slick. And once you initiate this, it could be a little while before you actually beat them up enough that they actually give you the money that's in the trust. So the child has to be super savvy when they go in there. Can't be shaky at all.
Understandable.
They're going to have to go in there with confidence, and not a lot of 18-year-olds do that. Been raised their whole life to mind their elders, and they may have to get a little forceful. They don't know this kind of thing. That's why I say you got to be real savvy. When you go in there at 18 years old, you're going to ask to speak to the supervisor in the Social Security office, and you're going to tell him that, look, I'm 18 years old, and I don't wish to utilize this trust. Because I'm 18, you have to get me to agree to this trust by using it, and I'm not going to use it. So what I want is an on-ledger, an off-ledger. What I require is an off-ledger and an on-ledger account of the trust since its inception, and I want to check for the balance. Now, they are not going to be happy, and there's going to be a fight. They're going to try and, well, that's, they're going to try and wiggle their way out of it, and there may be a legal battle that gets started over this to get them to actually move. They're not going to want to let an 18-year-old know that they've been putting $1.2 million in their trust every year since they were born, because that 18-year-old's going to go out there and tell their 17-year-old friends, hey, as soon as you turn 18, go get your money. So when you do this, you're going to close the trust. You can feasibly close the trust and then go open up a new one as soon as you get your money. Because the thing about it is that everybody wants to get out of the system. They want to do whatever it takes, correct the status or whatever. What you really want to do is run that trust. You want to work it. Think about it this way. You can go in there and at 18 and get, say there's $24 million. How long do you think that $24 million is going to last an 18-year-old? Not very long. Unless they're really, really smart and they know how to invest. Now, that same 18-year-old can go till they're 65. Now you've got 120-some, 30-some, or 150-some million dollars in the trust that you can get at 65. And you're going to be a lot smarter with money by the time you're 65. I'm not trying to discourage any 18-year-old from trying this. But it may be in their best interest to run that. I've told some mothers out there who refuse to get Social Security cards for their children. Why would you do that? They're going to open up a trust that your child, if you're smart and they're smart, and your children are smart, can use it for their benefit. The government likes people to do it, so the government can use it for their benefit. If you learn how to, if you get this, I've actually talked to some mothers that are going, hey, I'm going to look into that. I'm going to consider that because now you can get the benefits that the government gives for these children. A lot of parents can't afford to send their children to college, but you can go on your trust. There's people out there who have student loans. Well, you can go on your trust and get student loans too. That's what you're doing when you get the FAFSA and they give you the Pell Grant, that money's coming from your trust. So are the student loans. When you apply for a student loan, that money's coming out of your trust. Well, now you can go pay it back. You can get that money, use it, have a fun time while you're in college. Get your college, get your education paid for, or you can get your $24 million out when you're 18. Could you do that? Yeah. But I'm telling you what, old Dad, I hope your son likes you a whole lot and is willing to let you take that money and safeguard it, let you be the trustee for that. If not, he's gonna blow through it.
Oh no, we have a very good relationship, so I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah, fast cars and pretty girls. I'm 18 years old. That's all you give me $24 million when I'm 18. Fast cars and pretty girls.
No, he's pretty grounded. Pretty grounded.
That's good.
Yeah.
And he's done a good job.
Yeah.
You can try it, but I would really seriously work hard with him. You need to get his mind where ours is at right now. I've been holding off trying to tell folks how to do this because I've been working through this whole process 5 years now, and I still haven't got it all pinned down, the language that I would use and the steps that I'm going to need to take.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about, just the language and what I'm going to say, because as as I listened to your audios, I know you said you have 2 cracks at 18 and 65, and I'd rather start them off at 18 on a good foot and get a lot of things set up for him, so that the 65 is way off. We don't know what can happen between 18 and 65. So.
Yeah, you sure don't. You sure don't. And that's a gamble. It really is.
I'll take the chance. I just want to make sure that I'm going in there properly prepared and as far as the verbiage and whatnot is concerned. So that's what I was. Exactly. That's the guidance I want from you in regards to that. If you have anything as far as the script or that I can just study and go with him and just prep him as far as what's said and what your response could be.
Yeah, the most important thing, folks, is trust law. I don't know how many times I say this. Trust law. Trust law in commerce. That's our whole system. Our whole system revolves around those 2 things. Learn them. You don't need to learn legalese. You don't need to learn all these codes and rules and regulations. You need to learn trust law. You need to learn what your position is in the trust. Once you do that, you can take advantage of it and get more than $24 million out of your trust over the years. You might not live to be 65, but if you do, if you work it right for the rest of your days, you got yourself, you got your needs met. And that's a lot of it. But
okay, so we do have a lot of people waiting. Does that answer your question? One more. I got another question, quickly, please.
Okay, the other question somebody alluded to earlier with 718 in regards to the OIDs in box 1, and I just wanted to get the clarity on that. Is that if you have not done any OIDs for the year, that box will remain 0. But let's say you've done 3 OIDs, your 4th one should be a running tab of the 3 that you did prior to that 4th one. Yes or no?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. When you look at the directions, when you look at the instructions of the OID, that's pretty clear.
Okay. And the last one I sent, and the last one I sent you a copy of my bond in Messenger. If you can just take a look at that and just critique that and let me know if that's going to be signed and sent with a conditional acceptance.
Okay. So we got other people.
I'm working on it.
We got other people that are waiting. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Where did she go? Okay, Mary. have a foreclosure. Dang it. Hit star 6 again, please. Apparently we didn't get an answer from Mary on her sheriff's sale soon. Okay,
yeah,
Mary,
darling. Yeah,
quickly.
just remedy for the sheriff's sale, March 14th. Thank you. Have a blessed evening.
So she got a sheriff's sale coming up. Any remedies?
Man, when it's coming, that's down past the wire. They've already foreclosed, and short of getting ready to sling some bullets, there ain't a whole lot you can do at that point. I hate it, man. There's so many people out here, and I got a sheriff's sale next week, or when it's like that, you're pretty much, they're throwing your stuff out, And that's where Karen was at. They're coming to throw your stuff out. They don't care. I wish it was like it was in the 20s, in the 30s, when the sheriff came out to get the farm. The neighbors beat the sheriff up.
Sounds good.
You know what I mean? The neighbors beat the sheriff
Right.
up. You might get this house, but you're going to carry an ass whooping on your way. People aren't like that anymore.
No, they're pussified.
Yeah.
Okay, does that answer your question, Mary?
So if I go and hire an attorney and file bankruptcy, will that hold it off?
No, you're past that. You're already foreclosed. You've lost the property, right?
No, the sheriff's sale is coming up. That's
the sheriff's
sale. The property.
Oh, they're going to sell the whole property. Oh, yeah, okay. I do the UCC one.
Okay, and then
$1 million lien on it.
Go to your Secretary of your State's office and do a search for UCC one financing statement. And then
yes,
fill
I
it out.
got it up.
Put $1 million lien on that house. That way, when you go up there, you could actually take that to the sheriff's sale and say, look, any of y'all want to buy this house, get ready, because you're going to be paying me $1 million.
Okay.
You might want to do some research on how a lien claimant can claim their position, because I think that unless they do, they kind of ignore it. I think there's a procedure on how to do that.
Okay, and so then where it says security parties name of assessee, do I put my name in there, or do I?
Are you looking at a UCC one?
Yes. They have
debtor.
They have debtor, and then they have secured parties name.
Who would the debtor be?
The debtor is on the UCC one. The debtors the debtors would be like whoever's claiming that they own it. Let me see here a minute. Damn, I got the wrong one. No, it's right here. No, that's not it. Hang on just a second. I want to get one in front of my face right here, just so I got this straight. On the UCC one, the debtor would be the creditor on the UCC one. Let me make sure this is right. The debtor. You would be the creditor. Okay, you'd be the secured party. Secured party name? That would be you.
So who's the debtor?
On Tennessee's UCC one, the debtor would be the one who owes. Actually, the debtor would be the house. And now the debtor would be the house. Okay? When you do a UCC1 on a house, the debtor is the house. Okay? It's like saying this. I lived in you old house, and I took care of you old house. You owe me some money there, old house. That's what I would put in there. And then you got the address, right?
Right.
You got it'd be like organization's name, right? And you could put the street address, the mailing address, organization's name. You could actually put the lot number or the deed, where it's registered, the property's registered at the county.
Right. I have that all. Okay.
Yeah, and then put down the address, the street address. Well, you could, for organization or individual surname, you wouldn't do an individual surname or first name because you're making the debtor that. You would use the street address, and for organization, because it'll say if you're looking at the same one I am. You got a debtor, and then it says A or B. Okay. Does yours say that?
Yes.
Your UCC1, it'll say number 1, debtor's name.
Yes.
And then you'll have A or B. Okay? So B would be an individual surname, a first name, additional names, a suffix. You would use an organizational name. The A, you'd use organizational name.
Okay.
2-story brick ranch on, 2-story brick ranch, lot number, whatever, and then you put a county record, county record surveyor number, and then down in the mailing address, you put that address to the house, and then down in the secured party, you would use the B side, which would be the individual surname, first name, and individual middle name or initial, and then put your address. Down in the description, the collateral description, right? That's where you put the description of the house that owes you the money and how much it owed you. And that's pretty much going to be, and if yours says maximum principal indebtedness for whatever your state is, recording tax purposes, leave that 0. Okay? Put a 0 in there. Because what we've learned from our situation right now, Tennessee is arguing, even though the collateral description said $12 million, because we put zeros in maximum principal indebtedness for Tennessee recording tax purposes is because we put 0 in there. They're saying that that the actual UCC1 has no amount. It has no value.
Okay.
Right. So leave that 0. And if you may not be able to keep them from selling it, but if they do, you're going to get paid first. You know what I'm saying? And they better have a million. They better, and you can say that they can. If somebody comes in and goes, "Look, we're going to buy this house." Okay, you're going to buy this. Then if you're going to buy this, you're going to assume the lien too. If you buy this house, get ready to live in it the rest of your life. Because I'm going to do this UCC1 every year. You will not be able to sell this house. Because the lien will stay on there no matter what the sheriff does.
Okay. And then one more quick question. Number 7, where it says alter what the hell does it say? It says lease, consignor, buyer, seller, Bailey, Baylor, leased, leaser. Do I write anything there?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I know I see what you're saying. The leaser, consignee and consignor.
Right.
Seller, buyer, Bailey, Baylor, or Bailey or Baylor, licensee or licensor.
Right.
Yeah, you leave those blank.
Okay. And then number 5, do I leave blank also? Where it says check collateral is held in trust.
Yeah, leave those blank.
Okay.
There.
Awesome.
Leave everything
Awesome.
blank below collateral.
Okay.
Below
wonderful. Thank you. God bless you.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah. God bless you too.
Okay, Toronto, Ontario.
Hello, my name is Iris. Hello, Chris. Thank you for taking the time. I'm just going to keep this short. I have a couple of questions. The first one is regarding my Social Security card. I'm a young adult, and I'm wondering if I can just go ahead and edit my name on the Social Security, or do I just have to go down to the Social Security admin office to get a new one with my beneficiary signature on it?
You won't get one with the beneficiary signature on it. That card is the trust, the name of the trust. You will not get it. No one will ever get a Social Security card that's going to be upper and lowercase and hyphens and colons and comma beneficiary. You're not going to get that.
I understand, but there's a signature that you're supposed to sign on the card itself. That's more like the wet ink signature. That's more what I'm talking about.
If that's all you're trying to do is get your Social Security card so that you can put a beneficiary signature on it, go down there and tell them you lost it. Go down to the Social Security office and say,
if I already have the Social Security card, am I allowed to edit the signature in any way, or would I have to get a completely new one in order to do that?
So you got one that's already signed, and you want to go ahead and do the hyphens and the colons and the. If you've got room in your signature to do, if you've got room between the names and your signature to do that, by all means do that.
All right, perfect. All right, that's my first
question.
question.
Here's the thing. When you get a Medicare card and you look at the back of the Medicare card, there's a signature line. And underneath that signature line, it says beneficiary signature. It actually says beneficiary signature. When I first got signed up with it in 2015, the lady came up here to the house and for the extra program that I had, the extra health care program, I had just got the card. And she said, well, you haven't signed the back of this yet. I said, okay, let me sign it. And I whipped out my purple pen and I signed it with beneficiary signature. She said, why do you sign like that? That's a funny signature. Why are you signing like that? I said, because I am the beneficiary, right? It says it right there, right?
Yep.
You can if you've got a Social Security card that's got a regular signature on it, and you got the room to put the colons in and the hyphen and a comma beneficiary, yeah, by all means. By all means, put it on there. I thought you were talking about having them alter the name on the front.
No, just keep that wet signature different.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That's my question. Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Alejandro, 479 area code. Go ahead. 479 area code. Go ahead. You just unmuted.
Alejandro.
Yes.
It's Alejandro.
Okay. It's adios. Okay. 240 area code, Noble. 240, your phone just unmuted.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
We're here.
My name is Priscilla.
Wonderful.
Hi, my name is Priscilla, and I have a quick question. So for the first time, I'm endorsing one of my bills, and I was filling out Form 56, which is the notice concerning the fiduciary relationship. And for Part 3, it's the last part talking about the court and administrative proceedings. So another person who was doing this along with me, they just said for that part to put the vital statistic office of the state that you're in, and then also put your birth certificate number. But my problem is I'm not able to get that information because I wasn't born here, but I've lived in Maryland for 20 years, so I'm not sure what to put for the court and administrative proceedings part. Everything's already filled out except for that last part. I'm not sure how to go about it.
So the last part you want to know is the birth certificate, the information?
Yeah, the birth certificate, and then also the name of the court, because usually people put vital statistics office, but I called mine in Maryland. They said they don't have any record of my birth certificate because I wasn't born here, but I lived here for 20 years, so I'm not sure what to put for that part, for the court and administrative proceedings.
Do you have a birth certificate?
Yeah, I have the copy of it. I don't have the original one, though, but I have the copy of my birth certificate from back home.
Nobody has the original one. Everybody carries a certified copy. Yeah. So you want to know the date, right?
Yeah, I want to know the date, and then also, the date, and then also the number of birth certificate, because I looked at it today. I'm not sure if all birth certificates have a number, but for mine it doesn't. And then also I'm not sure what to put for name of court since I can't put the vital statistics office because they don't hold my birth certificate. Yeah,
well, usually there's a birth certificate is a bond. They're created on bond paper. They all have numbers. They all have serial numbers. They all do. If you don't have one on yours, it may have been on the back of the one, and all you got is a copy of the front, like a photocopy or whatever. Then there's 2 dates on there on the birth certificate. There's the date of live birth, and then there's the like a registration date, okay, or a certified date, the day that it was certified. I'm glad you brought that up. I did this process with a credit card a couple months ago, where I sent the 1099-A in to, it was Destiny MasterCard. And I set it in there, and I got the letter back, we've closed your account and all this other thing. And then just the other day when I was at physical therapy, I was on the bike doing some bike bike. I get an email going down to all the emails, and I see, well, here's one from Destiny Bank. I want me to pay this. We closed your account. Okay. So it wasn't. It was an offer for a new card. And it was the one that I had before had $350 limit. This one here, they were offering me $700. So, and I just spoke with a guy about a week before who was telling me about the birth certificate. And he was saying that there's the live birth date, and then there's the straw man birth date. And it's a registration date. And my live birth is May 22nd, 1965. And on the birth certificate, the registration date is June the 2nd. So I'm thinking, you know what? I'm just going to try this. And I did the application for the credit card. And instead of putting May 22nd, I put in June the 2nd. And got approved. And when you do these things for credit cards or any kind of financing, there's three things that they want. They want your Social Security number. There are four. They want your Social Security number, they want your name, and they want your address, and then they want the birth date. Okay? And they look at all that stuff. Now, mind you, this is a card that I just had closed, a credit card from a company I just had closed about 2 months ago. And they already have all that information, right? And before I used the live birth date, this time I used the certificate, the birth of the certificate, and they accepted it. So, yeah. And that's what they look for. Why didn't they flag that? Why wasn't that flagged? They should have flagged that right away. Whoa, wait a minute. We already got all this information from you, dude, 2 years ago. And we just closed your account 2 months ago. Yet you're going to give me a new card with the real birth date. Because apparently that's what that is. When you go into these tribunals and they say, what's your name? And you say, I'm Christopher Allen Hauser. Okay, what's your birth date? You tell them your birth date, but you told them the birth date or the date of your live birth. Well, you probably were supposed to told them the day that your certificate was born, which is 2 weeks. Most of the time, they're 2 weeks after the day you were born, because it takes, when you apply for a birth certificate, it says please allow 3 weeks to get your certified copy, right? So you don't get you never see your original. I've heard some folks say, "Well, I know how to do it. I got mine." Okay, but I've never seen one. I'm sure somebody out there probably has. Banks on those things. So the date, if you do have it on there, do you have 2 different dates on your birth certificate?
No, I only have one.
So down there at the bottom, you don't have another date.
I could take a look at it, but I don't think so. But I'll take a look at it later. But if there is another date, that's the one.
Date.
Yeah, that's what it is. Registration date or REG. Let's say REG. Let's say REG.
It might even be in smaller print.
Yeah.
Okay. So then for the part where it says name of courts, what should I just leave it blank since the vital certificate doesn't have it in my state? Like it's back in my country. Should I write where the register is my country for that part?
Yeah. Look, anytime you have a question about whether or not you should put something in somewhere, always leave it blank. Because what's going to happen is if they think that it's an issue, they're going to call you back or they're going to write you back and say, "Oh, well, we need this information in here." If you don't know what it is and you think you could find out what it is, wait for them to call you back or write you back and tell you, "Hey, we need this information." That's the way I like to do stuff. If I can't figure it out, then I leave it alone and I wait for you to respond, because once you respond, you're going to tell me how to do it right. It might take a little longer to get at it, but you'll always figure out the right way to do stuff. Then you can share it with other folks.
Yeah. Okay, so just last question, just kind of following up on that. I'm sorry, just last question follow up on that. So when I endorsed, So when I endorsed my bill for the 56, I was reading the instructions for where and how to file it. So I usually file to the IRS, but is it also okay to give the 56 form to the CFO of the company? like
Yeah.
both places, the IRS and the CFO?
But yeah, you can give it. You could make copy and send it to both. But look, I don't do the 56. I don't do it. I don't think. I've heard a lot of people saying, "Well, you can't send the 1099. You can't do the OID without a 56." Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. You need to realize that what's the purpose of the 56? It's to notice someone that they're a trustee. They should already know that. You know what? They should have that information super readily available. You should know. Anybody that takes your Social Security number ought to know that they just became a trustee in the trust. Mm-hmm. But if you guys want to use the 56, by all means, send it out, man. I just don't. I think it's a waste of time. You know, if you don't know you're my trustee, believe me. As soon as I say I'm the beneficiary and you're a trustee, you're going to know. Mm-hmm. You know, you're going to know. It's like you're my trustee. No, I'm not. Okay, here's a 56. Do you believe me now? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
You know, what do I have to do? What paperwork do I have to do to prove I'm the beneficiary? Just say you're the beneficiary. Oh, you don't believe I'm the beneficiary? Let me give you a piece of paper to prove I am. You believe me now? Mm-hmm. You know.
Okay. All right, so does that answer your question?
Perfect.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Okay, Albany, New York, you're next. Albany 518 area code.
Hi, guys.
Yes.
Chris, it's Christine. We corresponded a few times through email. I have a question for you this time, though, on something a little bit different. I heard somebody ask you just a few minutes ago about using the UCC-1 on a house after a foreclosure. In her case, she was saying it was just before the sheriff's sale. What if there's been a sheriff's sale already and now the home is owned by a bank and apparently they are leasing it to somebody who had me evicted through the court? Is there any benefit to doing the UCC-1 on the house since the person who had me evicted doesn't own it either? I was the last one to own it, and now the bank owns it. I know this is a little complicated.
No, I don't think so. You can always conditionally accept the bank. You can always do a conditional acceptance on the bank, even after the foreclosure, because there's no statute of limitation on fraud. But as far as doing a UCC-1 on a piece of property, that's a little fish. That's a little iffy.
Okay.
I don't know as I would do it.
I think the time to put the lien on is before the sale. After that, all rights are forfeited.
I thought. Okay. And I have another quick question on the 1199. I'm not sure what to put in. Let's see, it's in section 1. C, it says claim or payroll ID number. Do you know off the top of your head what number might go in there?
On the 1199A.
Yeah, for the direct deposit.
Direct deposit for what?
It's the standard 1199A form.
Yeah, but
from
direct
the Treasury?
deposit for what? What are you trying to deposit?
I filled out. Well, I'm trying to help the receiver of my 1099A get their money faster. So this would be for the person who filled out the OID.
In, section 1, what now?
Section 1C. It says claim or payroll ID number.
Claim or payroll ID number. I don't know if you'd use that.
Just leave it blank.
Right. Yeah, I would leave it blank. I mean, there's no payroll.
Right. Okay. Good.
Yeah, you have to think about that. How's it being used? how's the different ways you can use it? Normally in the instructions, there's different ways that you can use the document. You got at the top of it, you got some bullet points there.
Yeah, it says that it would be printed on the government check. So I'm assuming when the Treasury writes a check, it would have a number on it.
Yeah, they
Would
may
that
put
maybe
that
be...
in there themselves. You know, it says the claim number and type of payment are printed on government check. See the sample check on the back of this form. This information is also stated on beneficiary annuitant award letters or other documents from the government agency. Yeah, a lot of that stuff you can get from the directions. I don't have the instructions with me handy. I'm just looking at the form right now. But usually
could it maybe be the index number?
It may be. It may be the index number.
I'm sorry, not index number, invoice number.
Invoice. I don't know. I don't think so. Just looking at it, I'd have to get into the instructions there a little bit. And all I pulled up was the form itself. But a lot of times the instructions will explain all those little things. You know what I mean? Yeah, you'll find in the instructions it'll say in section 1C, these are the numbers that you would put in, and it'll explain the different ones that'll go in there. That might be something I've downloaded here. Read those instructions. I've never used it. The direct deposit. Never used that. I'm thinking that this is the payroll ID number. If you were a company and you were doing this for direct deposit, that's how you use it. Because it's a standard.
I was trying to figure out how to get.
You know what I mean? If you look at it, it's a standard form. They use this for more than just direct deposit for the IRS.
It seems like it would be the invoice number then, because they would have to take it from somewhere only for this one instance. It looks like it would be the reason for using this form. And my other quick question on this form, in box F, it says type of payment. I'm thinking it would be other, and I was going to put Treasury obligation, but I wasn't sure if you had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, we talked about that about 2 weeks ago.
I missed that one. I apologize then.
No, I'm not talking about here on this show. I talked about it with someone else. What was that they put in there? They checked other, because see, if you look at the types of payments, right? Nothing else fits. It's not a military thing or military survivor or civil service retirement, railroad. It's got nothing to do with that. They checked other, we were talking about, and they checked other, and I don't think it was us, Tad, that was talking about it, was it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I was talking with someone else about it. I can't remember what exactly he put in his.
Would this be for, what is this again for? 1099?
It tells you.
No, $11.99.
No, but for a 1099 payment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's like for your conditional acceptance, I would say litigation settlement or something like that. But for
that, yeah, that would. Otherwise, it's payment of an invoice for services rendered.
Yeah. Yeah, you could put that in there.
Oh, in other?
I'd say that'd be up to you. Explain what it is, what kind of payment it is. If it was coming from a payment, you're using a 1099A, and you're getting it from someone else and to use. You could say for other, you could say trust fund. You know what I mean? It wouldn't
Trust
be Social
fund?
Security.
Okay. Even if this is not for...
A little better.
I'm sorry, go ahead. So I apologize. It sounds like there's a little bit of a lag. I didn't mean to talk over you.
There might be.
Okay.
I got to sit in a certain spot in my building here to get the best signal, I think.
So I think for the sake of expediency, because we've got a lot of people waiting, I would say that we don't know.
Okay, sounds good. I'll keep working on it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, better on that.
Okay. Minneapolis, you're next.
Hi, Chris. My name is Peggy Stitzinger. I appreciate your time here. I wanted to quickly mention when it comes to foreclosure, the option of land patent for a person to be able to get their property back if by chance it's been too late. I just wanted to offer that as a suggestion. My question, though, is I'm going to have to listen to, maybe find a Zoom call that you mentioned at the beginning here about speaking with a brokerage. I'm a realtor and trying to get my clients a home, and I've even thought as a realtor I could be the trustee, and then of course all of the expenses would be wrapped up into that 1099A. I'm wondering, have you had any realtors that you know of be the trustee for their buyer?
Yeah, there's benefits are in the same process that you're going through right now. In Monday night Zoom call, I spoke with a realtor out of Dallas, and we talked about it. She's like, I want to do this for my client. And she even had a home herself that she was looking at getting using the 1099A to pay it off, the house she had. As far as going all the way and getting the check, I'm still waiting on one individual who's probably as far along as I can imagine. Paperwork's already gone. They're waiting on the check. As soon as that comes in, I'll be able to share that with stuff. And once the realtors figure this out, man, you're crazy busy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. My client is in Texas, Dallas area, and so I'm trying very hard to. I called the phone number on the back of the 1099A to find out if I consider being a trustee for this 1099A transaction, will I be able to find out if X dollar amount will be available for finance or for the property? IRS said, we cannot offer any information over the phone. You'll have to go through a tax professional or tax accountant and all of that. So, yeah, that was my experience. So it's good to hear that you have another broker or realtor trying to go through this as well, and I'll let you know what comes up on my end too.
Yeah, we're working on it. We really are. And you wouldn't believe how many real estate agents I talked to. Yes, you would be their trustee. If you have a client that gives you their Social Security number, you are their trustee.
Yeah.
And you should have access. You should have access to that. You should be able to go in person with your documentation to the Social Security office, even with your client. Take your client there and go, look, we want to find out if there's at least enough money in the trust to do this. And they should be able to, because you're in a fiduciary obligation. Hey, lady, I am in a fiduciary obligation. Beneficiary, I need to know this. You need to tell me. You are a fiduciary too. You guys should be able to do this. And like
I agree.
Like I say, a lot of the problem is people are unsure because of the process. It's scary. You were raised to think that the IRS is an evil thing, and they will get you on anything, and you're raised paranoid to even have them guys snooping around your house. But that's really not the case. They're not as bad as they think they are, or they're not as bad as we think that they should be. I would say try it, man. Try it.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario is they're going to send you a letter, hey, don't do this again. And then you'll know,
That's true. Yeah. I'm under a brokerage office here in Minneapolis, so I'd have to have them put it in escrow under their account, and then when the house is, for a purchase agreement and that too. So thank you so much. I believe.
Well, this goes. I'm gonna try and get a maybe a Telegram channel up just for realtors.
Yeah, I started a Telegram.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I think we're going to do. We're trying to get a Telegram group in, just for realtors, where you guys can get in there and help each other along with the process.
Yeah, I did. You're welcome. I did create a real estate group that I've, if I notice that someone says that they're a realtor, I, do mention to them. So there's a few people, maybe 4 or 5, including myself. So happy to move forward with Chris Hauser real estate group. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be
all right. Thank you.
All right. Have a blessed night.
Good night. Okay, Chris, we're going to do one more.
Okay.
I'm getting tired. I'm sure everybody else is too. And I'm doing my best to get it to everybody, but no matter how many people we pick, there's always 30 more.
Yeah, we had a Zoom meeting there Friday or Monday night. I was in it for, 3 or 4 hours maybe, and it lasted up until the morning time.
See, we're not going to do that. We're not doing that.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, Las Vegas, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I was hoping to do it.
Oh, gosh darn it.
What happened, man?
He was hoping to do it, and then he got disconnected.
Oh, that's not good.
Okay, how about Beaufort, South Carolina?
Good evening. This is Carolyn. I want to really have a comment on the young lady about the foreclosure. I think her best bet would go ahead and file a bankruptcy. I've done this, and that would stop the sale.
Yeah, I know a few people that have done that. I know a few people that have done that, but that's just a temporary. That's just
it's temporary, but it is because it is a temporary fix. But she doesn't have any other option right now. So in order to be able,
will buy her some time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It will buy her maybe about 6 months.
Yeah,
sometime.
Do a
So,
1099A and just pay it off. Here you go. Oh, but Judge, I made the payment. Where'd the money go, Your Honor?
Yeah,
and then in the process, maybe do the 1099A process.
Yeah, and the condition was accepted.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I did a foreclosure. A bankruptcy 2 days before my sale. 2 days before my sale, and it stopped it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because I didn't want to give them heads up. I didn't want to give them heads up, so that's why I waited so close. 2 days.
Yeah,
okay.
If she's still listening, she may want to do that. Thing about that, though, is them bankruptcy attorneys want about $1,500, $2,000.
No, she doesn't have to go with an attorney. I mean, I sort of found what you call it, legal aid person that knows how to file. You don't have to get an attorney to file bankruptcy.
Yeah, you're right. You can probably do it yourself.
Yes, that's waste of money. That's waste of money.
$100.
Oh.
Yeah, you can probably go to legals then, give them $100 and they'll print you out of bankruptcy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
a good idea.
Yeah, that's all I
Carol.
wanted to say. Thank you. Yes.
All right,
Well,
thank you.
Oh, bless you.
Okay. So, Chris, stay on the line. Okay, so you guys, again, to be notified of these meetings, go to youhavetheright.com and join our mailing list. That's very important. Join up our mailing list so that you can stay in touch, and we'll keep you informed of everything that happens. And again, those people that, if you even think you're getting divorced, asset protection is very important. You can contact me at youhavetheright.com, and I can give you some information on that. But thank you, everybody, for joining our call tonight. We really appreciate it. We try to do what we can, and there's a lot of people interested, so I'm sorry I can't get to everybody. We'll try again next week. Everybody, good night.
Peace and blessings, y'all.